Hey y'all, happy Sunday, and welcome to another episode of the Let's Talk About Life podcast. It's so funny because every time I get up here, it says that my connection is bad, like my internet connection, and if I am using Wi Fi, I need to get closer to the router, and the router is behind this chair, but whatever. Excuse me. Y'all, I'm gonna be real with y'all. We had a family and friends day at church today, and we were outside in the good elements, in the heat. And I don't know, I'm feeling a little crazy. I think it's because I came home. I hydrated the whole time that we were out there, um, and I waited until I got home to eat. Just because it was so hot, I was like, I ain't really trying to eat no food being out there in the heat like that. Um, but yeah, I scarfed that food down. I came home, took me a shower, scarfed that food down, and laid down on it right away. And I think that was my mistake because I don't know. I don't feel great, but we still pushing. I know I just didn't want to. I didn't want to go another week without doing the episode. So here we are, child. Which is so funny. Y'all know I get my grandbaby on the weekends. Well, excuse me, I don't get her. She be at our house on the weekends to see her dad and whatnot. And my sister was over here this weekend, and we was like, "Hey, child," or "All right, child." So then my girl talking about, "Okay, child. All right, see you later, child." It's so amazing, um, the way they pick up on things. You know what I'm saying? The way that they are. Little kids are sponges. Um, and it's just quite amazing to see how the things that we do essentially shape them into who they're going to be, right? um yeah, anyway, because that's not even what I'm up here for. What I want to talk about today is the last time that I recorded, I talked about essentially like favoritism in the family, in people's families. But what it has done is it's kind of made me. I've been doing a lot of reminiscing, right? I've been thinking back a lot on my life over the past 41 years. I've just been thinking about a lot of different things. And I got to thinking about just everything that I've been through over the years. And I was actually talking to me and my sister were talking either Thursday or Friday night, and she had seen she had watched the favorite podcast, so we were talking about that, and she was just essentially talking from her perspective on some things. Being the oldest sister, being so much older than us, so of course she has a different view of things and such. And I got to just talking about kind of like, which I mean, I talked about a little bit on the last episode, but I kind of got to talking about just being the forgotten child, and going into more and how I feel like I've always been getting things out of the mud, or um like it was nobody ever really around to help me. I was just talking to her about, like, I was saying, like, if you think about it, over the years of us growing up, you know what I'm saying? Both of my sisters have gotten a lot of help from our family in one way or another, different family members, or different support and all of the things. And I didn't really have any of that. There was nobody really coming to my rescue. There was nobody reaching out and being like, "Oh, girl, I got this for you. I just wanted to make sure you was good. I wanted to see if you had any help." And my sister was kind of saying that, like, the general consensus was like, Sheena don't reach out. I just assume she don't need nothing. But what I was telling her was, I said, yeah, I don't reach out, right? because during the time when I was still like an older teenager on my own, a young adult, um, well, nobody reaching out in the appropriate times of, making sure I was good when I was still young enough to really care about people caring about me. Um, and so, yeah, as an adult, the older I got, then why would I be calling y'all and ask you for anything? You know what I'm saying? If I'd have made it to 35 and 40, and you got to reach out to my sister to say, what is she in the phone number so I can, if you had my phone number in all these years and I'd had the same number for about 20 years, why would you need it now? Um, it was a good talk. We talked about my dad, because she said, girl, you called your daddy a piece of SHIT. And I said, I did, girl. And I said, and I was saying something to her. And I was saying that something, something, my raggedy daddy. And I love my dad. And I've come to terms with the relationship that we had. Um, One of the things that Pastor preached about one time, and I'm probably sure that have talked about this up here before, but he spoke to essentially sometimes God uses people to get us here, right? Because it takes a man and a woman to get the child here. Sometimes he can use two people to get you to exist, but then he doesn't trust both of those people to raise you in the capacity that you need to be raised to be who he has called you to be. So I pretty much figured that, my dad wasn't who I needed in my life on a regular basis in order for me to be who God is calling me to be. So it kind of is what it is. But I was just kind of speaking to like, the fact that, like I said, I've been through a whole lot, and sometimes I didn't even know how I was going to make it. But the one thing that I can still say, it actually made me emotional when I was talking to my sister when I got to thinking about it. I'm still here. Um, and that's really what I want to talk about today, right? Y'all, I am so grateful for all that God has done for me, even in the times that I was not a faithful servant, I'll say. Even in the times where I was not really honing in on the fact that God was helping me along. Even when I was saying things like, I wonder if God hear my prayers if I'm praying inside my head, because I feel like he didn't forgot me. Um, Even in the times of, all of these crazy things that have happened that, of course, being being human, I've said, why me? He has always been here. So when I think back over everything that I've been through, um, hindsight being 2020, I know that he has been working all along. And all of those times where I thought I had nobody or want nobody checking for me, that's because half the times or especially when I say, I don't even know how I made it through so and so time, or I almost feel like I got a mental block about when I went to certain things. That's because he had me wrapped up in his arms and was carrying me through those things that probably should have broke me. Um, and so as I sit here today, I'm just grateful. Um, Ooh, I'm sitting there getting emotional because sometimes you just sit and you think about the little things, right? Mm-mm-mm. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't even know where that came from. I just remember things like, whew, I remember not even being able to put gas in my car. One, I remember walking for years. I walked to and from work. I don't know, 6, 7, a long time, feeling like I couldn't afford transportation, having to live close enough to the job that I could walk into to and from work, barely making ends meet, paying my rent when my rent was $600 and $575, and uh struggling to pay lights. And when I lived in my first apartment, I literally only had to pay rent and my light bill, and I scrambled to pay said money. Um yeah, and now I'm getting ready to, like, I own my house. I'm getting ready to rent the house out to the boys, move into a little apartment just because I need me a break. And that seems small, but it's huge. It's huge that I've been able to raise my sons. It's huge that they have good jobs, that they can take over this mortgage, that I can move out just because I need a break. That stuff that, you know, anytime I'd have moved before now, it has been dire straits, emergency type energy. Either I had been staying with somebody that was treating me like crap, or the apartment I lived in was raggedy and I just had to get out, or you know what I'm saying, whatever the case might be. Or um yeah. And like I said, now here I am getting ready to move because I want to. I remember having a car and not being able to pay my car payment, or not paying my car payment in the month of December every year, so that I could have money to buy my kids Christmas. And all I would have is whatever I could scrape up in that one paycheck in December. Um, just the little things of, I remember having to write checks, child. Uh, I remember writing checks for food because I ain't have no money, knowing if I wrote the check on the Good Tuesday, that it won't go come out of my checking account until Friday when I got paid, and then I would get some cash back, up to $25 or whatever the amount was, just so that I could have a couple dollars in my pocket for whatever might come up. And like I said, as far as the gas was concerned, I could never fill my gas tank up. I would be putting like $6, $7 in my tank a day, just because I couldn't be broke. You know what I'm saying? Because if something happened, if I took all of my money and put it in this one basket, and then if something else happened, I knew that I would be out back. So it was just that the juggling act of trying to make it. I remember one summer when whew, my son was in boots for so. Whew, I can't even get it out. My son was in boots for one summer because he didn't have no shoes that fit, because he was growing so fast and I couldn't keep up with it. Because I was trying to balance paying bills and still having the other things. Y'all, hold on. I don't even think I'm gonna post this. Oh my God. Ooh. And now, ooh, Jesus Christ. I mean, we're not balling by any means, but we living better. You know what I'm saying? I got my grandbaby now. It's not really anything that she asked me for that I cannot get for her. You know what I'm saying? Oh, hold on, y'all. I should have brought me some tissue. I didn't even know I was gonna be crying and stuff. Do I got a rag or something up here? Take a little rag. Hold on, y'all. Cause I don't even know where all that came from. Oh, Now there go my little nose. Once I get to doing that little crying, little snotting, that little nose gets stopped up. But yeah, when I think back on things, because for real, I'm getting emotional, and it's not because I'm not sad, and I'm not even really, you know what I mean. I know that I tried to do the best that I could. I tried to make it the best that I could. And so, while some of the situations and things, like I said, I could go on and on about all of these things that I've gone through, things that I could do, things that I couldn't do, and such. I'm not sad. These are actually tears of joy. I'm actually getting very choked up because when you see yourself come on the other side of the survival mode, right? I was in survival mode for so long that even when I shouldn't have been, I was still moving like I couldn't make it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm barely making it. I'm just trying to make it. And I'd have made it. I got a good job. You know what I'm saying? I only have one job. Okay, your girl done worked up to three jobs. I got the one job. I'm sustaining and maintaining. My sons are good. They're working. My grandbaby is good. Um, we have all that we need and some of what we want. Um, we are thriving. You know what I'm saying, and we're only getting better. You know what I'm saying. I'm in the church, and I'm gonna be honest. It really clicked once I started paying my tithes. So if anybody out there, feel like you can't make it if you give up that 10%, I'm gonna tell you. When I first started tithing, I remember I was like, Lord, I got to give you this 10%. The 10% is all that I got left to last me for the 2 weeks. It was rough at first, but it has been a game changer for me. Me stepping out on faith and being a cheerful giver and giving the Lord what is due to Him, um, and giving that back to the church. It has really helped me get on. It has helped me get on the right path financially, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. Not just the tithing, but just in general. Like, you know what I'm saying? Uh, I'm just grateful. I am being out there today at the church. Like I was saying, your girl don't be in the elements. Your girl don't really like people. She don't like to do a whole bunch of talking. She don't like to do none of the things. And I'll be real, I still be awkward. I'm still awkward. Um, a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times. But just being able to be out. I'll be honest. I remember I don't even, Lord, I just want to get through stuff without crying, Lord. That's all I ask. I remember one of the first functions I went to at the church. I went, but I sat down. We was outside at a little like park or something. I sat down, I was listening to the music, but I was kind of sitting off by myself, which I do a lot of times, but I was sitting completely off by myself. Uh, And my pastor who kept saying, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I was vibing, I was eating a little bit of food, I was, bopping to the music, how you be just in, bopping. And I remember the pastor was like, well, why she sitting by herself? Why she just sitting off by herself? Ain't trying to talk to nobody, whatever. And I'll be honest, at that time, being new to the church, I took offense to that. Um, because I was like, well, what you mean? I mean, I'm off by myself because that's kind of what I be doing, but um it's it was a struggle for me to even show up because I don't do the social things. I don't do the fellowship at church. I just go to church and I come home. So it was me trying to step outside of my comfort zone. And I'll be honest, what it did, I stopped going to any function. Yeah, to the point, even though me and my kid's father weren't together, I look, George gonna come get y'all. He gonna take the car. Y'all go. I'm not going. I stopped going to anything. So as I got to know the pastor more and kind of get to know everybody and started loosening up and stuff, um, and I realized it really wasn't no harm in that. I honestly, what was happening is I was holding him to a different standard, like he wasn't a person. Like sometimes you be thinking the pastors are like these godly people who just don't do regular things. And as a regular person, he was like, I mean, did you come to the party to sit over there by yourself and not talk? Because how you gonna get to know somebody if you don't even talk? I mean, whatever. Um, but yeah, that's why I mean, like I said, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful. I'm proud of my growth. I'm proud of the relationships that I have built within my church family. Um, Having these people I never would have thought I would be talking to. I'm gonna be honest, a lot of them I didn't like when I first started going to the church, just making those subjective observations, like I'm sure they did with me as well, right? You see somebody, and I'll be honest, I see people, I see them, I get an idea about them, and most times I don't be wrong. I feel like that's one of my gifts of just really being able to see a little deeper than what's presented right in front of me. Um, But what I realized is that, yeah, you see a certain part of people, and that might be there. But once you find out the whys, or you really figure out how they tick, you realize that they're just out here trying to make it just like you are. And most, you ain't gonna, you don't never really like everything about everybody, because sometimes you don't even like everything about yourself. It don't mean you don't love yourself. It just means in some areas of opportunity. So yeah, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful. I am happy. I am humbled. Um just in the way that God is moving in my life, in the life of others. I'm so glad to be able to celebrate others and be happy for others. Like I was telling one of my sisters at the church, she just got a new car, and baby, I've been so excited. You would think I just got a new car, but it's one of those feelings like, yes, because I want to see like I said, these people have become my family, and I want to see them win. So when I see us winning, it's just such a nice feeling to see that all of this hard work, the giving back, the volunteering, all of the things that we do, that it pays off. You know what I'm saying? It pays off, and that we are being blessed in due time. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, y'all. I need to blow my nose, but I don't want to be rude and blow it on this camera, because y'all gonna be like, girl. And I'm about to wrap it up anyway, because I got the idea about gratitude. One of the brothers at the church. A matter of fact, not one of the brothers at the church. One of the brothers at the church, but Vincent, from the Holy Forge podcast. We've done some collaboration episodes. I actually have another episode that I need to post that we did, and it just took us some time to get it edited. That one will be audio only. As per like the last one, but um he has started doing like little small like reels in the morning on Instagram and stuff, and he was talking about gratitude one day, and one morning, and it literally, like I said, it's just been on me, because to be honest, it's been kind of a struggle. The more episodes or the more posts that you do, the more you start thinking real hard about what you're posting, the more you start second guessing what you put in out, and is this really impactful? Is this what I'm supposed to be? Just all of the things. And so like I said, I took that break last week because when I was being lazy, left we was just to keep it 100. I was being lazy. I wasn't sure what to talk about, and then I was doing the whole, you know how we do, oh, I'm gonna do it tomorrow. I ain't got to do it today. Well, I did it on Monday last week. I could do it, and I just did it. But like I said, he was talking about gratitude, and then just in light of, like I said, the last podcast that I did, and the week that I've had, the conversations that I've had with my sisters. Oh, well, I don't know if I should say my sisters. I mean, I talked to my middle sister, but oh no, well, we were reminiscing about when we lived with my oldest sister um in Georgia. She was kind of forced. She was not even kind of. She was forced to take us with her. I think I was 14. 14, Chantel was 17, so Stacy was like 28. She came back to get her son, my nephew Ravi, take him back to Georgia. She left with all of us, and all hell broke loose for all of us because she was not mentally, physically, and definitely not financially prepared to take care of teenage sisters plus her son. And we scrambled for that year that we lived with her. Now, I'm going to be real. We had some fun times, and we had some crazy times, but we had some fun times, and we had some memorable experiences. But like I said, I seen something in the grocery store that reminded me of one of the struggle meals that we used to eat, and we was kind of reminiscing on that. But I mean, that's just another prime example of, baby, I remember eating the noodles and hot dogs, and that was it. I remember my mama came to visit us, and we had the refrigerator with just the thing of Jello in there. She thought when we were saying we ain't had no food, she thought we would, you know how kids do, like, oh, my favorites ain't in there. I remember when we had the 20-pound bag of potatoes, and we was eating potatoes, and Chantel was eating the rice, sweet rice. And then it would be like, y'all ate all of the potato. Yeah, because that's all we had. Like, I never knew what hungry was. I never knew what struggle was for real until we moved. Me and Chantel shared a coat. We shared a coat at the beginning of that winter when we were there. And like I said, when I look back on it, it's part of what made us resilient. It's part of what showed me what hard work looks like and persevering through anything. And I got to tell you, you know what I'm saying, my sister held it down for us. She held it down for us in the best ways that she could. And when I look back, it's actually sad because, you know, after you have your own kids and you raise them and stuff, and you go through the trenches with your own churn, and you like, man, what was I thinking? You know, imagine. I can barely imagine how she felt trying to maintain us. And I mean, Ravi was a typical boy, so he was doing all of the things. He's 5 years younger than me, so he was about 10. I was crazy and depressed. Okay, so it was the balance of her trying to keep me from being depressed and just deal with me and all of my craziness, because I'm not gonna lie, you girl. My Chantel, the middle sister, I mean, she was a little crazy too, but you know, working and just balancing her growing into, you know, just like being into boys, hanging with the friends that was doing all of the things. It was just a lot. It was just a lot. And when you are, my sister was so much older than us, but it still doesn't negate the fact that we were not her kids. You know what I'm saying? We weren't. And to be honest, we grew up. We grew up like she was our mama too. I remember I was real old, and I was still stopping myself from kind of cussing in front of her. Like, she had to kind of let me know, like, girl, we cool. So you don't have to, you know what I'm saying? And now we have that rapport. You know, it's just, you know, we homies now. Um, but yeah, she held it down for us, and she scraped and scrambled with us, and you know what I'm saying, went through a whole lot of that she probably really didn't have, she shouldn't have had to go through, because again, we were not her kids. But again, y'all, I'm about to wrap this up. um I I am just grateful. I can't say it enough. I don't know how else to say it. What I would challenge you is, if you are in a season of, Lord, why me? Lord, you forgot me. When is my turn? How come I can't? Anything along those lines, or even if you just walk down memory lane like I did and think about, uh Lord, why did you forsake me? Why was I always the only one that didn't? Or whatever the case might be, right? really examine your life and think back, and I bet you're gonna see that you living in your answered prayers, right? You do have new prayers that you're asking for now, but where you at now, it was times that you prayed to be where you are, right? And so sit in that, and truly be grateful for where you are, because baby, I'm trying to tell you, I don't always be sitting around thinking about it, but he ain't been doing nothing but blessing me. And like I said, I am grateful. I am thankful. And I just love the fact that I have been able to sit in this for the past couple weeks and just really realize, Lord, you've been so good. Lord, you keep on blessing me. Where would I be without the Lord? Uh, if he don't do nothing else, he's already done enough. You know what I'm saying? I could go on and on and on. Y'all, again, we are all living in at least one answered prayer. There were times that we did not think that we were going to be where we are today, right? Even if we still got a ways to go, sit back and think about it. You didn't think you was going to make it through that last thing that happened. That last breakup, you didn't think you was going to make it through. That last job that you lost and you scrambling, you didn't think you was going to be able to put food on the table, right? The last time the car broke down, you didn't know how you was going to pay for the repairs, and now you got a new car. Whatever the case might be, we are living in our answered prayers. Be grateful, y'all, because I know that I am. That's it. That's all I got. Everybody be blessed. It's a nice rainy Sunday. I sat outside until the rain came on the porch and wet my sweatpants all up. uh I actually feel my little stomach feel a little bit better. Maybe I just had a little message I need to get off me. Who knows? And even if I end up not feeling good, I'm still grateful, right? Because I ate good food, I had good fellowship, I got a good bed to sleep in, all of the things, right? And I work from home tomorrow because that's a blessing as well. I work from home, so even if I don't feel great, I can lay across the bed and with the laptop beside me, and your girl's still gonna make this money. So y'all, like I said, everybody be blessed and just have an amazing day. And I will talk to y'all next week. All right. Bye.